how exactly do you separate, like, no, these are the things that really matter versus the ones that don't?
Um, so I would do a couple of these sessions every now and then with some of the people that I really knew, like certain roles. So, for example, if you were looking for a data engineer, get 4 people from data engineering there, and each of them, they have 3 colored post-its. And on one color, they write down all the soft skills they're looking for, hard skills, and culture stuff. And each of them do it individually, but then we actually have like a group session where we put it on the whiteboard and maybe group some things together, explain what we mean, make some clustering. So these are all part of the same type of thing. And then we start talking about like, okay, so if I find somebody that doesn't have this, should I just immediately reject him? No. Okay. So then let's put an asterisk on there that it's not really necessary. So that way you can really start tackling away about, okay, what is actually going to be necessary here. And I think a lot of times it's almost impossible to get like the perfect person who hits every single metric that you're looking for. Where I'm just a very, very strong believer in always hiring for one specific metric, which is like having a growth mindset, being able to receive feedback and act on it and learn, and being very curious. And then, then of course there needs to be a good foundation there, right? Because I cannot hire somebody who's really enthusiastic as a data engineer who has never done any data engineering. But I think being trainable and coachable should cover a lot of other different things.
Talking about all of those nice to have, and especially soft skills, what are your thoughts on everything from fairness to being unfair with somebody based on whatever it is, their culture, their skin color, their religion, or how do you keep those biases in check? Or
Yeah, I think it's really difficult, but at the same time, all those types of things have never been things I really discussed, I would say, or put in writing, or just evaluated somebody on. So when you have like your hiring process set up really well, and it's not a black box, right? So you really know what everybody's talking about. Then I would be very surprised if religion or I don't know, ethnicity or migration background, stuff like that, is a metric in what you're writing down. And if that's if it is, that's a big problem, I would say. I would have some big problems with that in any company that does that. But I've never done that, so it's not something that I've experienced in the last 6 years to have happened. Is it something that you have experienced?
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I've heard some people say some very racist things.
Really?
Yeah, one time we were hiring for a data position.
Mm.
There were 2 CVs. One of them was objectively maybe 30% better. I think everybody would agree, like, yeah, this person more experienced. But it happened to have okay, I'm gonna say it. It happened to have an Arab name, and the manager said, like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna hire this guy to pray during working hours. And we were like, oh shit, he said that out loud.
Oh,
So
damn.
that was horrendous. I've seen, but those are really weird cases.
So
More
I would
often,
say to that guy, by the way, okay, so the other guy, are you okay with him taking 5 smoke breaks a day?
yeah, he was a smoker. That's exactly what we told him.
Yeah.
But those are the crazy edge cases. In reality, people tend to confuse things. Best example is a lot of vacancies require you to speak Dutch in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
However, I am confident that not a lot of people are able to put the line, as in like Dutch as a skill, or aligning with the Dutch way of being and making sure that everybody likes you and that your cultural views don't conflict with people in the office.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you that's a good point. I think also I like that quite a lot about Griebe, that that was really not, at least in data, not that Dutch requirement. It was nice that people could understand a little bit, but that the goal there was more about making sure that they could feel welcome, because if you're sitting at a table and there's three Dutch people and it's you, then of course they can speak English. All of them can. But at some point, they hate each other's English accents. I especially hate my own English accent because sometimes I can sound like a bit of a potato. I don't know. But and they will switch to Dutch a little bit, and then you'll feel left out, and that's something we didn't want. So we wanted people to have some understanding of Dutch as like a preference. And I feel like having that as a requirement.
No.
I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan.
For me, very specifically, as somebody living abroad, the only thing I'm looking for is that when my nationality or my culture comes up, it always is in a, so what? You're Colombian, the guy's Greek, the guy's Bulgarian, this person is Brazilian, so what?
No.
But if it ever comes across as a weakness, as in like, oh yeah, but better not because we need somebody that understands this or that, it's always tricky. So before I started working for Civia, that's one thing I checked, like, what's the percentage of international people? Are you putting them in your webpage as in like, we have, Brazilian, look, it's an unusual creature. We caught one. If it's being highlighted as like your own preposition of value, that's also not very comfortable. I don't want to stick out because of something I don't control.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I always cringe a little bit when I see it happen. It's like we have a token.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also happens to women, being honest. It's just I only see the nationality part of it.
Yeah, and somewhere I do see sometimes some value in highlighting the women thing, but I think they're highlighting it in the wrong places, I think.
Yeah.
So I would rather see that being done more in maybe high schools or places where they are like study conferences where you actually get to experience different studies, directions, and learn what you could be doing. Focus there a bit more that also women can do these things. A company that has like this token women in tech thing, I think it's the wrong place. You just need great people, and whatever background they have doesn't really matter. At least not to me. I'm not looking for a place that has an X amount of Dutch people or an X amount of Germans or whatever.
Oh, my hot take there is every single time I apply for a job or something like that, I always check like the LinkedIn of the people working there, and especially also like the C-level and the very important people, the managers. I just happen to expect that roughly half of them are women, and roughly whatever the percentage of international people in the country is, here in the Netherlands is, depending on where you are, somewhere between 20 to 10%. If I don't see those numbers represented in especially higher management, I know that maybe I might not want to work there. Even if they're happy to give you like a entry-level position and like, sure, welcome to the team, you just know that after some years, you're not going to be the one getting promoted.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, so to me, especially like, but you also see it in other ways, like how is mentoring being tackled, and if people are getting mentored on an equal basis, and just it's not about like hiring somebody that is not qualified, but making sure that everybody gets equally qualified by the time they're in the company for 3-5 years or whatever it is, 10.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even. For me, it's of course different. Being native from the Netherlands, it's not a problem that I personally encounter. So it's interesting because I never thought of it that way. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's interesting.